All right, here it comes.
Remember me. That's why they kill me.
It's just so satisfying, dude. If this song comes on shuffle, I will go back to Remember Me, play the last few seconds of Remember Me so I can hear the transition from Remember Me to I'm Back. This is I'm Back by Eminem. I believe it's the fourth single on the Marshall Mathers LP. What good's it gonna do against the man that strangles himself?
I'm waiting for hell, like hell. Shit, I'm anxious as hell. Manson, you're safe in that cell. Be thankful it's jail. I used to be my mommy's little angel at 12.
So when he says, I used to be my mommy's little angel at 12, I believe Marshall himself and also his mom, because his mom wrote a book that I've never read, of course, but they both referenced that he was like a sweet little kid and then was sort of a nightmare adolescent, which I sort of relate to. I had a similar trajectory.
I was putting shells in the gauge on the shelf. I used to get punked and bullied on my block till I cut a kitten's head off and stuck it in his kid's mailbox.
Okay, so people call early aughts Eminem music school shooter music, and this is like a prime example. But I remember being a kid that was bullied himself, and just the idea, he was like, I was punked and bullied in my block, and then I cut a kitten's head off, a baby cat, and stuck it in this kid's mailbox, which I'm going to go on record as saying is an overreaction. But like, I remember being a little kid being like, oh, I bet if I fucking did that, everyone would respect me or at least fear me. Right. So, yeah, fucking, there's something so satisfying knowing like your favorite artist got bullied, because a lot of musicians are like professional cool guys. And I think what makes Marshall so cool, he's like, oh yeah, I was like, I mean, obviously he's exaggerating. I don't think he ever did that to a kitten. Although apparently the guinea pig story is real. When I do the reaction videos to songs on the Slim Shady LP, I'll talk about that. But I don't think he ever killed a kitten.
I used to give a fuck, now I can give a fuck less. What do I think of success? It sucks, too much stress.
So the fact that Marshall can talk about being rich and famous is something that like sucks, and he could grouse about it in a way that's like cool and relatable is kind of amazing, right? So this is his second album, right? And everyone thought that the Marshall Mathers LP was going to suffer from the sophomore curse, but really it's his magnum opus in most people's opinions. But you know, the Slim Shady LP, he's talking about being broke, you know, rock bottom. If I had, there are songs about living paycheck to paycheck and like having two jobs and trying to support your wife and your daughter. And this one, he's rich and famous and he's so unhappy, right? And obviously he'd unpack that further in later albums, especially like sober and introspective Eminem. But it's just sort of funny that he had such a cool origin story, such a like quintessential American story of rags to riches, that he's complaining about the stress of being rich and famous. And we all heard this and we're like, that's fucking cool.
Too much stress, depressed, too upset, it's just too much mess. I guess I must just grew up quick. Yes, grew up quick. No, was raised right. Whatever you say's wrong, whatever I say's right. You think of my name now whenever you say hi. Became a
So that's obviously a reference to My Name Is, the first single he ever released in 1999 that made him famous. Hi, my name is Slim Shady, which you would think everyone would unanimously conclude is like cornball silliness, but it introduced people to, I mean, I don't think anybody was ready for the Slim Shady LP to come out. And I'll talk more about this when I react to songs on the Slim Shady LP. But apparently Fat Joe and Big Pun waited online for hours to buy the Slim Shady LP the day that it was released, which I believe was Valentine's Day of 1999, but don't quote me on that. So I think for like, I don't know if everybody knows this, but because now it's not weird. There's like a bunch of white rappers, right? I mean, you know, I'm a comedian. I hear other, it's almost like a trope, especially like, if you want to make fun of a dumb guy that lives in New York, it's like either DJ or white rapper, right? But it was like incredible back then that you had, I mean, you had like the Beastie Boys, but they were very open. They're like, hey, we're three Jews from Bensonhurst, right? And then you had Vanilla Ice, that was a joke. but like Eminem was like one of the first white guys that was talented and had mainstream appeal. Basically, I guess that's what the point I'm trying to make is, I mean, you had Third Base and you had Milkbone, you had Cage, and those were guys that had limited commercial success, though they were very talented. And then you had Vanilla Ice, which is the opposite of that, of course, but he was the first one that had both. So he became a commodity when he was WHITE. I just think that's so fun when rappers spell things. Quick aside. Just when you spell things, that's fucking cool.
Was so friendly to me. Can't wait till Kim sees me. Now is it worth it? Look at my life. How is it perfect? Read my lips, bitch. What? My mouth isn't working.
That's going back to talking about Eminem being relatable. The fact that he's rich and famous and he's like, I fucking hate my ex-girlfriend. I think that's so funny, dude. I mean, I like to think like if I make it one day, will I let go of all the resentment I have? And the answer is probably not. So I love that. He's like, and this is supposed to be a single on the album, right? This is before he wrote The Real Slim Shady. And he's like, what do I put in the first verse of one of the singles that's going to like introduce people to the album? Oh yeah, my fucking bitch ex-girlfriend, Kim. I mean, there's another song on this album called Kim, and to be honest, I don't even know if I want to react to it. The song is art, but it also makes me extremely uncomfortable. It's like Requiem for a Dream. When you watch it, you watch the movie A Requiem for a Dream and you're like, that was art and it was beautiful and I'm a better person for having watched it, but I will never watch it again. That's kind of how I feel whenever I hear the song Kim. So let me know in the comments if that's even something you guys want to see. If not, I totally understand.
You hear this finger? Oh, it's upside down. Here, let me turn this motherfucker up right now.
Dude, as a 10-year-old, that was so cool to me, where he's like, can you hear this finger? Oh, it's upside down? Well, I'm gonna turn it up. It's sort of funny to think about how that was recorded by a 28-year-old man. It's like, yeah, fuck you, Kim. I teach you to do that. Oh, fuck it up. Just to see if he's influenced by me if he listens to music. And if he feeds into this shit as an innocent victim and he becomes a puppet on the string of my tennis shoe.
My name is Slim Shady. I've been crazy way before radio didn't play me.
By the way, like I used to be able to rap every song on this album perfectly. And I just think as my brain ages, I'm slowly losing the ability to do that. It's the natural cognitive decline that comes for us all. But I do like, what's the line? Oh, where he's talking about, the radio won't play him. It's kind of true. Like when the Slim Shady LP came out, people played My Name Is, cause that was like a catchy pop beat. Right. And then what was the next single? I think it was Guilty Conscience, which is like classic Marshall, like not under. He's like, how about a song where me and Dr. Dre rap about killing a man and his girlfriend? It's okay. Yeah, it's not going to be played at the clubs, but Marshall might say the only reason they play it at the clubs is because you're still playing them.
With Ken Kniff, who just finds them inedible. It's Ken Kniff on the internet trying to lure your kids with his internet.
All right, if you don't know who Ken Kniff is, I guess now is the time for me to fucking explain it. So here's the character. And the character Ken Kniff. And it's not a character that Eminem created. It was his friend and fellow rapper Aristotle. And he was introduced as a character in the Slim Shady LP as a skit, right? Because they have these little skits in the album. And Ken Kniff is calling Eminem and sexually harassing him. And Ken Kniff is from Connecticut. So that's the alliteration, right? Ken, Connecticut. Different letters, but same sound. And okay, the character of Ken Kniff is, what if a guy was gay? That's the bit. That's the character. Early aughts, that's just something you could do. There's no other okay, he's addicted to sex and he's gay. Those are the two things you need to know about Ken Kniff. And oh God, should I react to the Ken Kniff skit later on this album? I suppose I have to. And that'll be after I explain the Insane Clown Posse bit. It's it's just a strange way for a man in his mid-20s to act. But yeah, Ken Kniff, we love you, Ken, if you're listening.
It's a sick world we live in these days. Slim, for Pete's sakes, put down
Okay, so it's another reference to Christopher Reeve, who Marshall keeps calling Christopher Reeves. He's a busy man. He didn't have time to really make sure he was pronouncing a gentleman's last name correctly. And it's just very early odds Eminem where he's like, what if a man was gay? Oh, and what if an actor couldn't use his legs? And that was just peak comedy, dude. He's not wrong.
These guys are so sensitive, limit to touchy subject. Crime, just don't mention it. Mine with no sense in it. Pride gets so frantic.
He hasn't said the word fucking yet, so I guess the next time he does say it is in the song Marshall Matters.
And that's where I get my name from. That's why they call me.
It's very obvious, at least to me, that he wrote this in an effort to write another My Name Is, right? I want to say it's the Up in Smoke tour where correct me if I'm wrong, where he comes out in a Jason mask, overalls, no shirt, and he has a chainsaw, but presumably a fake chainsaw. And, he comes out, everybody's cheering, and then this song plays, and people are, I want to say it's right after the album came out, but Marshall is trying to he's like, that's why they call me. And he's putting the microphone out to people, and you could kind of the vibe, you can't hear them because the rhythm isn't as clear for the average person as My Name Is. Like, that's so easy. Hi, my name is Slim Shady. That's why they call me Slim Shady. I'm back. It's a little, I don't know. It's a good thing he wrote the real Slim Shady because that was such a better way to introduce the album to people, I think. All right, the next verse is a bit controversial. Okay, so he said, you might have noticed this is the dirty version, right? I'm playing the dirty version, not the clean version, but they bleeped out some of the lines there. I'll play it again real quick. I went back too far. So I take 7 from, and the original line was, I take 7 kids from Columbine, right? So he just can't help himself, right? He's harping on this Columbine thing, and it's one of 2 instances on this album, and I'll talk about the other one later, but where the record exec, oh wait, no, there's 3 instances, aren't there? Yes. This is the first of 3 instances where the record execs were like, even on the Dirty album, you can't say this, right? So they bleeped out kids and Columbine. But later he referenced it in Rap God, and sort of in a tongue-in-cheek way, he's like, now I'm less big. Can I say it now? And he was, and I think more of that was we had more time to process Columbine, because Columbine is now not shocking. It's just like, a regular occurrence. But it's also a reference. He says, I take 7 kids from Columbine and stand them all in line. It's a reference to a Rakim and Eric B song, where he says, I take 7 MCs and stand them all in line. And that's the second time in this album he's referenced Rakim. The first time was in the chorus of The Way I Am, where he says, I am whatever you say I am, which is a reference to the Rakim song where he goes, I am the RAKIM. If I wasn't, then why would I say I am?
All in line. Add an AK-47, a revolver,
again, teaching little Bobby about weapons.
And that's a whole school of bullies shot up all at one time. 'Cause shady, they call me as crazy as the world was over this whole Y2K thing.
Y2K, I remember Y2K, dude. Where my elder millennials at? We all thought that computers couldn't handle switching from 99 to 00, and it turned out not to be a thing at all. And I do kind of think about the Y2K hysteria whenever people get nervous about other, new technology, or like what's going to happen. Like a lot of people are afraid of artificial intelligence, and, could be devastatingly bad, or it could be a thing that like a generation from now will be like, LOL, I can't believe we worried about that.
The way in sync, why do they sing? Am I the only one who realizes they stink? Should I dye my hair?
I'm realizing, by the way, looking at the monitor, that I need a fucking haircut. This is ridiculous. In fact, the other day, my dad said, I'll kick you out of my home if you don't cut that hair. But yeah, In Sync. Again, Marshall, I believe he's 28, possibly 27 here, and he fucking hates a boy band, right? I mean, who are probably 19 or 20, so like almost a full decade younger than him. And he's in his era of like, make no mistake, I'm not a fucking pop artist. You know, you have to respect that, right? I think in the next song, he says, my instincts to kill in sync, which is actually, he borrowed that line from a freestyle he made a couple of months earlier. But yeah, he's about to go off on In Sync, dude. So if you're an In Sync fan, fucking TW. Lip sync and buy a bigger size of earrings. That's a very fun early aughts way to feel. Because Eminem had like studs or even like little loops in his ears, and he's like, that's fucking masculine as hell, of course. But if your earrings get too big, miss me with that gay shit. I tend to block out when I hear things, because all these fans screaming is making my ears ring. So I just throw up a middle finger. And this is how Marshall gives the middle finger for some reason. Okay, so I don't know if you caught it. He said, I'm going to stick the middle finger to people longer than the rumor that I was sticking it to Christina, because there was that rumor that Eminem and Christina Aguilera were having sex. And Christina Aguilera was like, no, we're not. Same thing with Mariah Carey. I think if you were a hot pop star and everyone's like, the guy that's, you know, that talks black and is really skinny and has dyed blonde hair, you fucked him, they're immediately like, no, I didn't. Shut up. I would never do that, you know? I'm curious. I don't think him and Christina Aguilera had sex. I do think him and Mariah Carey had sex, but that's the subject of a different video. But okay, so whenever there's like a thread on our hip hop heads or our hip hop or whatever, what's the weirdest line? Two rap lines are like considered the weirdest one. One is Biggie Smalls saying, she looks so good, I want to suck her daddy's dick, right? Which is actually him referencing a Richard Pryor bit. This, listen, we all agree, early odds Jennifer Lopez, very attractive. I think Marshall goes a little bit overboard here. If I ever stuck into any singer in showbiz, it'd be Jennifer Lopez. And Puffy, you know this. Oh, quick aside, by the way, obviously he's about to talk about how much he wants to fuck J.Lo, but apparently he was concerned about Puffy actually being mad about this, and I don't even remember where I heard this from, that he actually cleared it with Puffy. It was like, hey, I'm doing this Slim Shady thing. It doesn't actually mean anything. And P. Diddy was like, yeah, I don't care. And maybe because he's like just super open or whatever, or maybe because he was like, I'm actually having sex with men this whole time. Who knows, dude? There's this whole, I do say, as much as I love Marshall, the theories online that he knew about P. Diddy being a scumbag this whole time, I don't think are true. I think the more likely explanation is that Eminem viewed P. Diddy as like not really a rapper and more of like a pop star, right? And just kind of wanted to throw jabs. I think that's the more likely explanation. But anyway, let's get back to Marshall being a complete lunatic about how horny he is for J.Lo. Puff, but I don't give a fuck if this chick was my own mother. I'd still fuck her with no rubber and come inside her and have a son and a new brother at the same time and just say that it ain't mine. What's my name? Slim Shady. Imagine you're at a bar and you see a girl, right? And it's just guys being dudes, and you're all talking about it, right? And one guy's like, I wouldn't mind a night alone with her. And another guy's like, yeah, I bet she's a handful. And then one of your friends goes, I don't give a fuck if this chick was my own mother. I'd still fuck her with no rubber and come inside her and have a son and a new brother at the same time and then just say it ain't mine. It would change the vibe, right? It would be weird. Marshall, horny on main man. Too much. It's such a great beat, dude. And I love the bit that there's little kids singing Slim Shady in the background. That's why they call me Slim Shady. They call me Slim Shady. What a great bit to say hi, mom, while she's actively suing you for what you said about her on the last album. Great bit. Not something I fully understood when I was like a little kid and listened to this first time. I was like, oh, that's nice to say hi to your mom. Especially because what he just said about J.Lo, right? He was like, if J.Lo was my mom, I would do incest with her and have a incest baby that was all fucked up. And then he's like, oh, by the way, to my real actual mom, hello. Crazy, wild behavior. D12, if you're unaware, stands for Dirty Dozen, and it's Marshall's group, right? He had a couple different groups. He had Bad Meets Evil, Royce to 5'9". He had Outsiders, right? And that kind of fell to the wayside. Not quite sure why. I guess you could only bring so many people with you to the top. And I know he's like closer to Young Z than he was to Pace One, but yeah, D12 is him and his 5 friends, and they each have a personality. So 6 times 2 makes 12. And there's actually a song that I'll do a reaction to later called Under the Influence that features all of the members of Dirty Dozen. Dr. Dre, of course, is the producer. Slim Shady. 2001. So this was actually released in 2000, but he says 2001. Makes me wonder if he was like, who knows when this will be released? I think the more likely explanation is it just rhymes with the next thing he's going to say. I'm blue out from this blunt. So can you imagine being like, I'm so high, and then being like, I always, because he does like a laugh in a lot of his songs, and you know, because I know how music is made. That means there's like a bunch of takes of him just being like, okay, 3, 2, just doing that over and over again. But you know, God bless the fake laughers. God knows I need them sometimes. Well, guys, this is I'm Back. And if you want more reaction videos to Eminem songs, please let me know in the comments. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next time.